The storm will settle down, and I do not have to do anything about it. The third one said, no matter what the storm does, I'll do my part. He adjusts the sail in the right direction to use the wind to power him to the destination. Are you wondering how this story resonates with us? Let me tell you how. We are like those three friends who are sailing in the sea of life, encountering storms at every step. Storms are nothing but adversities that come into our lives time and again. What makes a winner is finding an opportunity in adversity. We at SixSox Minds bring in a plethora of experience over many courses as this, lasting for 45 minutes each. Our goal is to share experiences, learn from one another, and reach beyond. Today, we have someone who will help us look for those opportunities in adversities. He believes that learning is a never-ending process. He has over 3 decades of experience in key functional areas such as financial accounting, strategic planning, sales and marketing, supply chain, and human resource development. He has helped companies to expand their operations and increase productivity in their industry. He's a certified business excellence assessor and has been associated with various business awards here in the UAE as well as in the US. He's also a passionate teacher and has taken up teaching assignments in various top-tier universities across the globe, such as SP Jain, Murdoch University, Amity University, Institute of Chartered Accountants, to name a few. He believes that no one should ever be satisfied in their pursuit of excellence. His dedication is an embodiment of how sheer hard work and determination can help be better prepared for their path towards excellence. So, ladies and gentlemen, please use the virtual icon to clap and welcome Mr. T.P. Anand for his talk on Formula for Success During Crisis.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hope I'm audible and you can see me and also see my presentation. Deepa, can you confirm if my presentation is visible and I'm audible?
Yes, I
Okay,
can see the
guys.
presentation.
I'm going to try and give you a formula for economic crisis and how to handle the economic crisis. And I will probably do it in the next 20 or 25 minutes, post which you can raise your questions. While I'm talking, if any questions crop up in your mind, you can please post your questions on the chat. Six people who are from different walks of life who came together during this economic crisis and decided, when we have such wide variety of experience, why can't we share our experience? So as the first speech, we decided that we should look at a strategy for SMEs during economic crisis. The strategy that I am going to propose is called the TP formula. TP formula is nothing but a 10-point formula, and I've been doing research on the SME sector because I worked in SME sector for more than 30 years in my life. So I probably understand a few things better in the SME. So that's why my research area happens to be the SME in UAE. Formula number one. First and foremost, you have to realign your business model. What is a business model? A business model, simply put, is why would a customer come to you for your products and services? So ask yourself, why is a customer coming to me for his products and services, or for mine, what I'm offering to him? Why would a customer come to me? And if there is an economic crisis, will he continue to come to me? Ask that question, and you have to realign your business model. If you had seen today's newspaper, Dubai government is launching at a cost of 3.2 billion dirhams, Dubai Commerce City. This Dubai Commerce City is nothing but a place where they are encouraging e-commerce participants to come and set up their business. Now, this is exactly what is called as realigning your business model. While Dubai was attracting tourists and business owners in the past, given the current situation, they are encouraging more and more e-commerce companies to come to Dubai. So remember, formula number one is realign your business model. Number two, look at non-customers. You've been dealing with customers and you've been dealing with certain segments in the society thinking they are your typical customers. Start looking outside of that arena and start identifying the so-called non-customers. Nintendo did this when they had stiff competition from Sony and Microsoft. They went to all the old age homes in Japan, did a survey, and launched a product for the old age home residents. So until that product was launched, the old age home residents were actually non-customers for the video games company. So look at non-customers. Three, very important, you should break the shackles of your local market or your defined market. You've been already operating in a local market, break the shackles of that local market, start looking at avenues. I'll give you a live example. That's an example of Ghar outlets. I don't know how many of you have seen it in India. When you drive on the Indian highway, at every 300 kilometers, there is a Ghar outlet. They named it Ghar, Bharat Petroleum named it Ghar because they wanted the driver to feel at home after driving 300 kilometers on the highway so that he has all the facilities there.
Yeah.
And when the dealers were not willing to invest on a Ghar outlet by opening a 6-acre land for a typical petrol pump with a large area for parking the trucks, with an area for resting, with an area for a saloon, and so on and so forth, Bharat Petroleum decided that they will make the investment and they will open the Ghar outlets all by themselves all over India. That's called breaking the shackles of your defined market. There is no need that if Bharat Petroleum has dealt through dealers, they should continue to deal through dealers all the time. And it has been a runaway success where in every Ghar outlet, as opposed to a normal outlet on the highway, they are having 7 times more sales. The next formula that I would recommend you look at is exploring new markets and new revenue streams or new avenues where revenue stream will flow. I'll give you an example. We all know IKEA. IKEA concept store, and IKEA has been managing their business very well in different countries over the years. In April 2019, IKEA launched rent a furniture scheme in Switzerland, which became a runaway success. Now you will be wondering why IKEA is renting furniture. They are supposed to sell the concept. They are supposed to show us how we can fit everything in 44 square meters. But they thought that people are buying the furniture and they are using it only for 6 months or 9 months. And after a use of 6 or 9 months, they are just throwing it away or sending it to the dumping ground. So IKEA thought, why can't the customer decide at the time of purchase whether he needs it for a longer term or a shorter term? If it is a shorter term, why can't we give the option of rental? Now you might argue that it is cannibalizing their existing revenue, but reality after it was launched shows that it has not cannibalized their regular revenue stream. So keep looking at exploring into new markets and keep thinking about where you can find new revenue streams. So when you look at realigning your business model or looking at a new customer or breaking the shackles of your local market or exploring into new markets or new revenue streams, Obviously, your business process have to be realigned, redefine the major business processes. And for example, the UAE government recently announced just a week ago a new system called the UAE Pass. The UAE Pass is a new system where you get to access various government departments and government agencies through one single window. So it's a single access, it's a single entry point, but you have access to all the services of all the different departments of the UAE government, which calls for enormous amount of relook into the major business processes. If you are a small entity doing a trading business, for example, your major processes are revolving around purchases, sales. So if your major processes are revolving around the purchases and sales, you should actually start realigning those major business processes by doing a value chain analysis to see where exactly value is getting added. And by adding that value, are you getting the requisite commensurate benefit or not? So when you ask those pertinent questions, you will obviously redefine your major processes. You will align your processes in order to specifically focus on improved turnaround time or better efficiencies or cost reduction. The formula number 6 that I recommend is always think out of the box. Thinking inside the box is drilling deeper into your own domain expertise or your business to look at how business is being run. And thinking out of the box is actually thinking something different, completely different. There was a company which had a problem. They were maintaining a building, and that building is a high rise building, and it had more than 30 floors. And the residents of that building were constantly complaining that the lift is very slow. So they tried everything and they found that there was no way that they could accelerate the lift. And at the same time, the building association or the maintenance company could not afford replacing that lift. So they had to come up with a solution. So they engaged a design thinking company. The design thinking company came up with a brilliant idea saying, if you can't repair the lift, if you can't replace the lift, and at the same time, if you don't want to face any customer complaints, why don't we fix a mirror on all the sides of the waiting area? So wherever people are waiting for the lift, all the three sides, they said, let's fix a mirror. They fixed the mirror. People started admiring themselves and looking at their own hairstyle and their dress and everything on the mirror. And the number of complaints about the lift being slow or waiting time being long stopped completely. So you could actually start thinking out of the box. When Southwest Airlines was launched as a budget airline, they asked, why are you coming with a crazy idea of the airline industry? When everybody is selling a ticket for $200, you are launching at $70. The Southwest Airlines founder said, we are not competing with airline industry, we are competing with ground transportation. Another example I can give you is the Nano. The Nano was actually a cheapest car that was thought of by the Tatas to protect families. They said, husband, wife, two children going in a two-wheeler is such a big risk. Can we not fit them at a slightly higher price? If they are buying a motorcycle for 60,000, maybe we give them a car for 100,000 or 200,000 rupees where they fit in, and it is 100% safe for the family to move. So start thinking out of the box in your own industry, in your own business. Number 7, use technology. Now, we all see on our day-to-day life how much of changes have happened. Rampant changes have happened. I, being a person who was born in the 60s, I started using a calculator. And from the time I started using a calculator to whatever gadgets we are using today, we have moved a long, long way. On a daily basis, new technology is coming. On a daily basis, disruption is happening in one or the other industry. use technology to the maximum. Gone are the days when investments were heavy on technology. Today, hardware, software, everything is available on the cloud. For everything, there is a monthly subscription. Everything has become an OPEX. There is no CAPEX related to technology today. And particularly for SMEs, there is absolutely no CAPEX. It's all OPEX. It's all operating expenditure because you can get the technology that you want on a subscription model. So try to use technology. You have seen extensive use of technology in the healthcare industry. You have seen extensive use of technology in the hospitality industry. We are now seeing use of technology in the construction industry. 3D printers are making homes. 6 villa home is being built by a 3D printer in just 10 days time. So use the technology as appropriate. Then comes number 8, cost consciousness. Many people ask me this question: should I embark on a cost reduction, or should I do a cost control measure in my organization? I have seen personally, because I've been engaged with several SMEs over the last so many years, and I have seen any isolated cost reduction or cost control only leads to a failure. It doesn't give you the requisite results. What will give you the requisite results is cost consciousness. I went for a meeting in DIP to a company. Outside the meeting room, there was a clear notification: starting time of the meeting, ending time of the meeting, name of the participants from internal, name of the participants external, and then in big font, double the size of the rest of the text, they had put cost of the meeting. Cost of that meeting was prescribed there very clearly in dollar terms. This is cost consciousness. If everybody in the organization knows that there is a cost attached to every activity that we perform, that cost consciousness will automatically lead to cost control and cost reduction. You don't have to work on cost control and cost reduction because it is a function of cost consciousness. Build the cost consciousness within your organization by assigning a value. It is not at all difficult. Some of you are chartered accountants and some of you are from a finance background. You know that every resource in the organization has a value. Every resource has a number on its head, which is in dollar sign. So assign that value and make people conscious of that value. Then comes cost leadership. Maintain cost leadership. How to maintain cost leadership over a long period of time? Apple is a standing example for me. Apple mobile phone was launched in the year 2006. And over the last 14 years, I have seen they have maintained the cost leadership. How do you maintain cost leadership? Get a clear understanding of the components of the cost and understand the value chain end to end. Don't look at your input versus your process and your output. That's a very truncated, very compartmentalized view of the whole value chain. You should have a clear view from its origin, from where the raw material is produced in the farmland or in the mines, to where the product or service ultimately gets consumed. If you have a view of the entire value chain, that is when you will be able to play a very crucial role of maintaining cost leadership. Cost leadership alone will give you a competitive advantage because you have absolutely no control over the price at which you can sell your products and services. The selling price is always determined by the market forces. If the selling price is not in your control, what is in your control is the cost. Maintain cost leadership in the industry by keeping your costs as low as possible. Have a look at them on a regular basis. And number 10, which is extremely important under any circumstances, particularly so during economic crisis: fact-based decisions. Never make decisions which are emotional. I worked for a company for almost 10 years here in Dubai, and my boss himself was a chartered accountant, and he used to always tell me, we need to run the business dispassionately. There's no room for any kind of emotions on the table. Let's look at things very, very clearly on the basis of facts. Get your facts and make sure you get your facts from the most reliable sources. If your accounts department gives you a balance sheet saying this is 90% accurate, don't accept, because a balance sheet that is 90% accurate is actually an inaccurate balance sheet, in my opinion. So, fact based, TCS announced just about 10 days ago that based on their 6 weeks of experience and the facts that they gathered because of lockdown in India, they said out of their 500,000 odd employees, nearly 75% can continue to work remotely. That's fact-based decision. So in summary, I'm going to go through the TP formula for your benefit. Realign your business model. Number one. Two, look at non-customers. Three, break the shackles of your local market. Four, explore new markets and new avenues of revenue. Five, define major business processes, redefine it, think out of the box. Number six. Seven, use technology. Eight, cost consciousness. Nine, cost leadership. And 10, fact-based decisions. My dear friends, economic challenges are going to be there, and we all know that businesses go through this cycle. It used to be a 10-year cycle, then it was 15 years in some industries, then it got reduced to 10 years in almost all the industries. Then we saw once in 8 years. Now we ourselves don't know when that cycle is getting repeated, maybe in 3 years, maybe in 4 years or 5 years. We are going to face this cycle movement. Face it and don't panic. There is no room for any panic. By panicking, nothing will happen. We have to face the challenges. Two, always look at opportunities during the economic crisis. There is always opportunities. And unless we explore it, we will not know where the opportunities are. And be positive. Half empty for some is actually half full for managers and owners who have a positive attitude. I want to conclude my speech by saying the best way to move ahead in economic crisis is to stay on the path of excellence. Put yourself in the path of excellence. In the path of excellence, there is no finish line. As rightly said by our ruler of Dubai, in the race for excellence, there is no finish line. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I look forward to taking the questions now. The idea was for me to present my formula in about 15 to 20 minutes so that we get a good 20-25 minutes to handle the questions. So I will now pass on the mic to Deepa for further proceedings, and I'm available for question and answers. Thank you.
Deepa, you're muted.
Deepa, kindly unmute.
Thank you for that talk, Mr. TP. We will go ahead and take some questions now. Just as a reminder for the audience, you can use the chat box to type in your questions. To begin with, I have a few questions that have come in during the time that people were registering. Your first question is, can you give us an example in your life on how you have achieved success during any crisis?
Deepa, can I go through the questions that have come on the chat?
Okay, there is one currently from...
If it is a new startup or an entrepreneur who just started doing business a month before the crisis, what should be the strategy? For a startup, at the time of beginning, if you are faced with a crisis, you are better positioned than people who have already made some investments. You can easily realign your business and First thing is, please make a plan 2030. Plan for the future, and your 2030 plan should start now. Don't plan for 2020 now. Plan for 2030
Atau
now, and then
Ucap.
start working on your plan.
Oh,
Okay, that's my answer for Amit Padmanabhan. Can you please elaborate on being a cost leader? Apple remained a cost leader all these years because they have constantly looked at the value that is being added by different participants. For example, when Toshiba went into trouble and Tanaka made a revelation in July of 2017 saying $1.8 billion has been inflated in their figures, Apple swung into action because the lenders went after Toshiba and said, why don't you liquidate your equity in your best company, which happens to be a chip manufacturing company? So Apple took stake in the chip manufacturing company because they were running into trouble with Qualcomm and they were not able to control Qualcomm. Today, if you see, Apple has already announced that they will make the microchip that is required for their products themselves. This is because of the strategic investment they made in Toshiba. So they have constantly looked at the various components of their cost and tried to keep their total cost of production very low. When they sell a product for $500, their cost of that product is hardly about $170 or $180. That's the difference between Apple and Samsung. I'm trying to roll back, so you have to give a minute. Praveen is begin to identify new avenues of revenue. Sir, how did you do it? I don't know. Maybe you are sitting with a couple of your managers and trying to identify some new avenues of revenue. That's not the way to do it, in my opinion. You have to involve people from all the departments, including your office boy. Everybody should be involved in a brainstorming session where you keep throwing the dot on the board and question every single idea. The more you get ideas on the board, the better it is for your organization. I'm sure if you involve all the people in your organization, even if it is a small team of 10 people, involve all the 10 people, throw all your mobile phones and other gadgets and say, we are only going to do ideation for the next 4 or 5 hours with plenty of hot water, coffee, and tea bags in the room. Focus, you will be able to identify new avenues for your business. I'm very sure about it. So Mr. Abdul Razak is asking, have you successfully applied this formula on any company or any cases? I can't say that I applied this formula, but I can tell you that this formula, which I call as the TP formula, is my formula. And it comprises of 10 points. I don't call it the 10 commandments, but I call it as the TP formula because these 10 points will certainly, in my opinion, help any company, particularly the SMEs, during any kind of economic crisis. You have to just open a A3 sheet, list down the 10 points, and start marking what actions you have taken on those 10 points. And start quickly implementing. You will see some real benefits coming your way. There are definitely some low-hanging fruits for every single business. What it calls for is a positive frame of mind. What it calls for is an open mind to look at it out of the box, to be receptive to ideas from any corner, from all the stakeholders. So Praveen Narayanan, a staggering, Rajit Nambiar says, a staggering 70% of the businesses in Dubai expect to close their door within the next 6 months. Sir, I have heard this time and again. From the time we had the Iran-Iraq war, people have been predicting left, right, and center about how everything will come to a grinding halt. When Dubai Metro was launched, people made a prediction that all the taxis will go out of business. We have 3 times more taxis on the road, plus we have metro service, which is every 6 minutes. Plus we have more and more people coming into Dubai. Every day, 2,000 people are arriving in the airport on a visit visa looking for opportunities. And we have seen, at least I have seen in my 57 years of existence, time and again, all the expert opinions have only gone wrong. I do not believe that 70% of businesses will close their doors in 6 months. I don't know who got this number and from where. And I've heard it every time when there is a crisis. They say, oh, Dubai will be empty, everybody will go, everybody is already packing the bags. Same people are here for the last 35, 40 years. Why they didn't pack their bags while they were talking about others packing their bags? I don't know. I don't believe in this. Deepa is asking, can you give an example? We had the economic crisis even now. How did we launch SixSox during the crisis without meeting face to face? 6 people coming together on a common platform called Zoom and brainstorming over a period of time. We are here. We have already launched our first Saturday session, and you are going to see every Saturday sessions like this by different people, right? That's a live example I can give you on how we have handled a crisis in real life. Startups have taken loan and they have gone bust. Sir, people who take loan, if they don't have the intention to repay the loan, there is nothing we can do. Even people have actually mastered the art of cracking into a system like NASA, right? So we have a saying in Tamil, if the thief doesn't think of stopping theft, there is no way to stop theft. So people who have taken loans, if they have gone bust, the banking system has its own mechanism to handle such situations. Okay, they say that the SME business in particular has contributed probably 9% to the bank's lending over the first quarter of 2020. This is a news I read today or today in College Times. So SMEs do play a very, very important role, and you do find some companies are successful. You do find that some companies are holding up in a very short span of time. This is all in the game, and we need to play around on this and understand the nuances better. Looking at non-customers, can you elaborate on point number 2? I elaborated through the example of Nintendo, where I said you cannot expect or anticipate or think a old age home resident as a gaming customer. But they went and spoke to them. They asked them, what kind of games would you like to play? They said, we won't play against a computer. We won't play a one-on-one game. We need to play only group games. We can't play with a joystick and too many controls. We need only limited controls, left, right, up and down. So they did the survey, launched it. So you can always start looking at non-customers. Today in the industry, you know, these are the set of customers. Maybe you'll have to look at non-customers. When iPad was not launched for a tech-savvy person. iPad was launched for people like my mother, who's 85 years old and who's using comfortably an iPad. My wife is using an iPad very, very comfortably. They are not tech-savvy people. So they moved away from the so-called conventional customers to identify non-customers and develop the product. Apple's only success is because Steve Jobs gave a single word to the company when he came back into the organization in 2001, which is simplified. Anything and everything can be simplified. When you simplify, what you have to offer, you will always see that you are fulfilling the needs of a fresh set of people. Is it possible to get the presentation? Of course, this is not secret. We'll share it with you, no problem. Cost control means removing employees. This is I would say, indiscreet action that is taken. And I also find it is very painful that most of the HR professionals do not see the people side of things in such situations. It's important not to let go your key people, because if you hire new set of people, they may have the skill on the CV, but they may not have the will to demonstrate it on the ground. Hire people who have the will, not the people who have the skill, because people who have the will can always be provided the skill. I never had many of these skills that I have acquired over the years, but it was my attitude which helped me to acquire these skills, because I'm always willing to learn. So removing people, I don't think is a good way of cost reduction, and that's not cost reduction. In reality, Jay is saying finance managers and business owners don't follow or agree with them. How to, sir, you love to create a consensus among all the people on the importance of cost consciousness and not cost reduction or cost control. We have to make everybody come and sit across the table, agree on things. And that's the way business will progress. If the business has only 2 or 3 people who are brainstorming all the time and taking decisions, you will never be able to crack into some of the people who have a very, very strong will and a strong set of ideas in their mind and are unwilling to open up or unwilling to listen to others. How to motivate small gains? This is called a mastery which you have to get. It's called guided mastery. Look at small initiatives and get some small wins and celebrate it. When I do something, I celebrate. With my family or alone or whatever, I just quickly celebrate. Yeah, this and so that small wins is what will you stay. Tata's Nano, is it considered a runaway success? The concept was good. There are various reasons. There are some case studies in Harvard Business School on the reasons why Tata Nano didn't take off well. As a concept, it is a good concept of bringing a vehicle to protect a family and not let them go in a two-wheeler. As a concept, it was good. And they sourced material, automobile components from all over the world to make it as cheap as possible. They probably flawed while implementing the idea, because they had to shift their plant from West Bengal to Gujarat, and they went through all sorts of problems. But otherwise, it's a good concept. Sir, fundraise, there are different ways of looking at it. I just heard a couple of days ago that this was said by a very, very senior strategy professor, Professor VG, was saying, Vijay Govindarajan. Professor Vijay Govindarajan was saying there are more and more funds which are now keen and looking at pumping money into online business, pumping money into anything which can be done on a global scale. So this online education is something where many investors are very keen to pump funds. So you can raise funds during crisis, provided you know where you are pitching for what kind of business and how you are projecting those returns and showing in reality whether those returns are realistic or not. Tourism company during 3 months of lockdown, difficult situation. My elder son works for an events company in San Francisco. They do a lot of events for large companies like Salesforce and LinkedIn and Google, to name a few. They are completely moved into online events. So they are now doing massive online events. So you'll have to look at, think out of the box and move away. That's what I said. Break the shackles of your known local markets and start looking outside.
So, TP, we have time for just two more questions.
I'm just going through the
Sure.
chat. Maybe what we can do is we can write an email to all these people who have raised the queries. How long does one keep investing in business? That's a very good question. I would say look at your cost structure at least till about March 2021 and see how you can manage your cost structure. Understand your cost structure till March 2020 and see how that cost structure will be supported by revenue streams. Look at the revenue streams to support the cost structure. If you have to take a hit or a bit of a beating and fund it out of your own investments, do so, but be prepared to fund it till about March so that you can again take a look at it come September, you can again take a look at it in December. So every now and then you can keep looking at it. I used to get alerts on the pandemic from Harvard Business Review on a weekly basis. And then suddenly I got a note from the editor saying, it looks like we cannot do updates on a weekly basis. We have to now do it on a daily basis. And so they started sending updates on a daily basis to all the educators through the Harvard Business Publishing. So you'll have to move quickly and take stock of the situation. The frequency has to be decided depending on the situation. Startups during crisis, what is the strategy? I would say wait all the different perspectives and talk to as many people as possible. Talk to investors, talk to people, talk to some of the experts in that domain area, and talk to as many people as possible to get a wider view and then launch your startup. How much time will take to get out of this, sir? I don't have an answer for that because I'm extremely busy doing so many things. I'm not really being affected. So I don't know whether we will come out means what, 6 months, 3 months, 8 months, and what that means, I don't know. We'll have to look at it from each business perspective. Delivery companies are extremely busy. Johnson and Johnson people are extremely busy because they started their digital transformation 3.5 years ago. They didn't foresee it, but for whatever reason, they started 3.5 years ago. So they are all extremely busy. Alternate businesses, I need to understand from which perspective, from where you are saying. Dubai Chamber surveyed, and Dubai Chamber has clarified that the survey was done during the peak of the lockdown in April. Situations change. Please read that caveat at the end. One of the officials of Dubai Chamber of Commerce has said, we did this survey at the peak of the lockdown. So the people's sentiments will change, right? So I'm sure that's not the same situation today. Business is a teamwork. I'm saying when it comes to decisions, don't make emotional decision. When Jet Airways landed in Trump, State Bank of India wrote to the chairman of Jet Airways, Naresh Goyal, and said, please step down from the board. And they added one more line. While you step down from the board, please take your brother-in-law and your wife along. No room for emotional decisions. Why is Naresh Goyal's wife and brother-in-law part of the board? And why should a State Bank of India write to him saying, when you step down, please take your wife and brother-in-law also along with you and ask them to step down from the board? We should not take emotional decisions in business. Of course, it is team effort, and the team is made up of people. People are full of emotions. I am born with emotions and I am living with emotions. Opportunities for new business, I think, is there in every single industry. You need to carefully look at every industry. There are enough and more opportunities. As I said, half empty for some is actually looking half full for others. Positive people always look at opportunities. While they look at opportunities, they take cognizance of some of the threats that are existing in the external market. So you can, if you keep your eyes wide open, you can look at several opportunities. Cost structure as a thumb rule, there is no thumb rule on the cost structure. For manufacturing, a minimum margin of 40% is what will keep you sailing safe. For a trading company, it depends on the product. I used to do trading on mobile phones where I've traded at 0.75% margin. So it depends. There is no thumb rule on the cost structure. But we need to look at it from each case on a case-to-case basis. Need presentation and discussion on email, please, Mr. Krishna Mohan. Yes, my email ID is tpanand@leapexcellence.com. I will put that in the chat for those of you who are still there in the. So you can reach out to me and definitely we can have a conversation.
Sorry to interrupt.
Okay.
Mr. TP, we've taken cognizance of all their questions, and perhaps the ones that we've left out, we can respond to them by way of email.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for answering our questions and giving us those valuable insights in such uncertain times. If you all would have noticed, we have a poll that has been just launched. I would request you all to take 2 minutes to kindly answer that. We've come to the end of our program, and the biggest message that we can all take away on how to make opportunities and adversities are by facing challenges, by applying the TP formula that will help us face these challenges, and to keep in mind that in the race for excellence, there is no finish line. As I said earlier, the person who adjusted the sail in the direction of the wind is at the end of the day a winner, because winners never quit and quitters never win. Once again, we at SixSox Minds bring in a plethora of experiences over many courses as this, lasting for 45 minutes each. Our goal is to share experiences, learn from one another, and reach beyond. Before we sign off, I'd like to mention that our next SixSox Saturday speaker is Mr. Hariharan Ayyappan, and he will be enlightening us on redefining your competitive advantage. We look forward to seeing you all again soon. And on that note, have a pleasant evening and thank you all so much. See you all soon.